Welcome back to Her Fantasy Football, where three sisters give you all the fantasy football information that you will need to win your championship. Heyo!
Hey.
You can
What's
find
up?
us at herfantasyfootball.com or on iTunes. Also find us on social media on Facebook /herfantasyfootball and on Twitter at herfantasyfb. I'm your host, Courtney Kirby.
And I'm Ashley Williams.
And I'm Brandon Lee.
And there are 3 more days, people, until there's a football game.
Woo!
Woo! I'm so excited.
Little fist bumps.
Spirit fingers.
Spirit fingers.
Spirit fingers. That's been a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, it's preseason, and it's the Buffalo Bills and the New York Giants.
Yeah. Not a whole lot of spirit.
Well, you know.
Details. I mean, no Oakland Raiders, Jacksonville Jaguars.
No,
Sad.
but
Sad.
so it is at 8 p.m. Eastern time, the game. The Hall of Fame game, first game of the season. Preseason game, we should say. Between the ever-glorious Giants, who I think will bounce back, and the semi-exciting Buffalo Bills. They
Maybe walk-ins. Kind of fun.
So should we go through who's actually been inducted into the Hall of Fame, since it's kind of the point of this game?
Heyo.
Maybe. All right. So we've got Derek Brooks, Claude Humphrey, Andre Reed, Arnaeus Williams, Ray Guy, Walter Jones, and Michael Strahan. Is it weird I don't even consider Michael Strahan a football player anymore?
I know.
No, it's not weird.
Is that weird? Like, I almost find it, like, weird when he actually does football analysis now. It's like, shouldn't you be on with Kelly Rico somewhere?
It's hard to not think of him in a suit.
I know, right? He
Yeah.
looks good in a suit, though.
Yeah, A-okay. No, I don't have a problem with
Chic
that.
now. Yeah.
Yeah,
No problem.
it's a
No
thing.
problem.
Yeah.
Well, the game should be entertaining, to say the least. So
Here's
we'll
hoping.
see. We'll see. Yeah, exactly. Here's hoping.
It's open for everybody.
Yeah, I'd say so. Brandon, what's going on in social media?
Social media. Hi. Okay, so we got our man Andrew at Andrew892. He says, "Why am I so in love with Andrew Luck and his neck beard? Hard not to be, my
No.
friend. Hard not to be."
The neck.
I don't want to reach too quickly, right? Where should I draft him? Courtney, you cover the Colts. Why don't you start this one?
You know, I feel like 5th round is a great place to get Andrew Luck. I, too, love me some Andrew Luck. He's got a lot of people to throw the ball to this year. You know, Reggie Wayne's back. Dwayne Allen's back. You know, there's quite a few people that, you know, he can get the ball to more of like a Broncos 2013 kind of way. So I love him. I wouldn't go any higher than the 5th round because, again, he is in that second tier. If you do miss Andrew Luck, there's, you know, 5 other guys that you can get that are going to be close around him. But we have him ranked number 4, and I think he is worth being number 4. I love him.
Yeah, you know, I did the quarterback rankings, and I was thinking to myself, who do you put above him?
No.
It can't be Stafford because, frankly, the end of 2013, he has not repaid his penance. There's a problem with what happened there. I mean, he's like 2 points a game. It was crazy. So I can't. He
It
can't
got
be.
ugly. It got ugly.
It got brutal. I think Nick Foles is fabulous, but he lost Deshaun Jackson. That is a true story. That happened. I still believe in the Chip Kelly offense, but we only saw 1 year from him, and he did lose his number 1 receiver. And then there's, I guess, Matt Ryan.
Jay Cutler.
Jay
Ugh.
Cutler's, oh no. You would never even dream about putting Jay Cutler above Andrew Luck.
I think Andrew Luck is perfect in the 4th slot.
That was
Because you're right. He took care of his interception issue that he had 2 years ago, which was what really held him back. Because he was, how many interceptions did he get that year? It was.
Well, he was the whole offense
It
as
was
a rookie.
bad.
It was bad.
It was bad. But he took care of it this year. He's great. I'd put him in the 4th slot. I don't know why you're in love with the neck beard, Andrew. Is this a guy thing? Like,
It's a guy thing.
like a guy crush? Like this guy, like he's like just out and about, has no shame of the neck beard. People like
Right.
guys like weirdly respect it.
I don't know if you
Girls
guys saw. No. However, it is comedic. I mean, it also allows me to talk about it because it's so clearly an obvious choice that he's making. Like, it's not like, oh, unfortunate he can't help it. No, he's making a choice to grow a neckbeard. But he did a Reddit like Ask Andrew Luck thing online, and someone like asked him some dumb question. He responded in a dumb way, and then at the end he was like, "And that's a terrible profile pic." He was so funny and sassy, and I was like, I don't want to be this guy's friend. So I'm kind of all into Andrew Luck and for lots of reasons. I think he's really fun.
But the neckbeard is not one, so.
No.
Well,
But
yeah.
kind of hilarious, though, no.
Kind of hilarious. Well, one of our other favorites, Casey Kasem, at the Casey Kasem, she says, thoughts at this moment on drafting Rashad Jennings. I'm big on him. What round would you get him in a standard 12-team league? Well, this is a Hall of Fame question. I like him. I mean, I like him because I'm not going to drink David Wilson Kool-Aid again. And I didn't drink it last year either, but I'm certainly not going to drink it this year. So you can tell me what you want about him, but I'm not going for it. Ladies, what do you think?
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Rashad Jennings is great. He has great ball control. I think he's going to be used a lot. As you said, David Wilson went out again, with neck issues, and he's just not trustworthy. And I think that, I think Coach is going to like Jennings, and I think they're going to use him a lot. So we'll see. I'm okay with him.
Where would you take him?
I would say I would take him in that, 6th, 7th round.
Oh, that late?
I would take.
Depends on
I would rather
how
have a
quickly
top running back wide, and he's not a top 10 back in my opinion.
No,
he's not. And I'd rather have a quarterback as well. Depending on how the draft's going. I mean, I would maybe I'd go 5th, size 5th, maybe. What do you guys think?
I don't think I'd go that high. I don't know. I mean, it's weird because at this point he's kind of a single back, but I don't think I'd go that high. I don't know. I mean, I love him, but yeah, I think I go wide receiver instead of him in the 5th round.
Yeah, right. I mean, fifth's as high as I'd go.
But that's the whole point, is that he might drop down to the 6th, 7th round, and then he's great value, so.
I think in a standard league, though, running backs are still really important, and I think they're going to be flying off during that 3rd and 4th round. And I think if you don't get him in the 5th, you have no chance. In a standard league. If it's PPR, then I'm in a different land. But I think in a standard 12-team league, because you have 12 teams, by the 4th round, we're talking about almost 50 players have been taken. He's probably a top 50 guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but think about it. He's going, let's say someone goes running back, wide receiver, quarterback. 5th would be another maybe running back, maybe another wide receiver. He's on that cusp of the bottom of that RB2. That RB2 world. I'd say people might be going running back, wide receiver, quarterback. I mean, it's all going to depend on your draft. I think Brett makes a good point. Get a feel from how those running backs are flying off the board. Because if they are flying, then you won't get them.
But I think Rashad Jennings is one of those guys that if running backs are flying off the board, I wouldn't feel like you're reaching. If everyone's taking running back, and you're terrified that you're not going to get him, I'm okay with you reaching for him. But if people are taking more wide receivers and quarterbacks and getting a little willy-nilly, I think you probably want to wait. But, man, if he has a good preseason, I think his draft stock's going to go way up because that's all anyone's waiting for. So, I don't know. I feel like he's one of those guys that and really this whole show is going to be about what to look for. He's one of those guys. Which, by the way, I have an idea for Tom Coughlin. Do you remember Wild Things?
Mm-hmm.
Wild Thing? Remember when they had that, picture of their owner and they would rip off a piece of clothes?
Yeah.
Wild Things. What am I trying to think of?
It's a baseball movie with
Winning. Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen. Yeah.
Are they in Major League?
Major League.
Yeah, Major League.
What are you talking about? Okay. Classic movie, though.
That is classic. I'm thinking of the song that he walked out to.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so, sorry. I'm losing already. I'm already losing cred here. But what I was saying is, I think we should make one of Tom Coughlin, because I don't think they're going to win 10 games. So I'm going to make a 10-piece Tom Coughlin rip off his clothes, and I'm going to have it back here
I love that.
podcast.
Oh,
I love that.
If they win 10 games, we're going to see something special. But I'm going to give him the red Tom Coughlin
It's like,
face.
you better have the face.
But I think I'm going to put David Beckham as the body.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, Channing Tatum or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Beckham's, that's good. I'm not angry with that.
So that's how much I feel about the Giants. But I do want to see Rashad Jennings and angry Tomlin face. So great
Although
question.
Calvin Johnson with Coughlin's face, that could be good too. I wouldn't be mad.
And confusing. But
You
I
should
think
go with like a bigger body, like a realistic old man body.
No, it's not. Nobody wants to look at that.
Exactly.
like what? Like Rodney Dangerfield or something?
Yes, that would be good. That would be good.
Maybe we should put that out for our Twitter followers. Who should be the body for angry Tom Coughlin?
We
Because I'm
should
pretty sure he doesn't have a naked photo on Twitter.
We should make them send us pictures of bodies that we could use. High res.
No, because I've already had a bad
Are you
experience.
afraid you're gonna get some more dick pics, Brennan?
Yes. So, no, don't send us that, but send us names. Anyway.
Too good. What else, Brandon?
All right. This one comes from Carlos, and it's at CSSARDINAS. Carlos Sadinas.
Hey, Carlos.
How high do you take Jimmy Graham in a PPR league? Now, I have to start this out with someone said third if he's still there. I think that's a stretch for me.
He's not, yeah. He's not.
Even in a PPR league, I think you're going to be safer with Matt Forte and Adrian Peterson, which you can get at third and fourth. But I wouldn't hate you if you took him at fifth. I know that sounds crazy, but in a PPR league, my problem is, so I took Julius Thomas early in a different mock draft, like a long, long time ago.
Jimmy gets
And
more
my-
touches than Julius.
Oh, no, for sure. But I took him in the third round. And even with taking a tight end, it wasn't even the third round. It was fourth or fifth round. But it was still, I didn't like my team. Because I missed out on people where it was like really pertinent to get them. I think you can do it, but I think you need to go in with a really strict game plan. And then you need to also have a game plan as to how you're going to work the waiver wires. Because that's what you have to do if you take a tight end in the first round. Because you are going to miss out on either an elite running back or a wide receiver. Because by the time it gets back to you, but I'm not saying don't do it. But I haven't seen it work out yet. Where I'm like, that person has a great team who took Jimmy Graham in the first round. Now, Courtney, didn't you take Jimmy Graham in a draft recently, like in the second round or something, or third round, or was it the end of the first round?
No, I took him in, I want to say second round. I was
That makes sense in my
eighth
brain.
pick in the 12-man league, and I took him. I took him in the second round. So,
And it's PPR, right?
yeah, it's PPR, and you know what? And you got to
Mhm.
do it. I mean, if Jimmy Graham's available,
No, I agree.
I mean, you just have to do it. I think once you hit eighth pick, if he's there, take him. I agree. I think first four is bananas. Do your thing, whatever, but that's crazy talk to me. But yeah, I would wait a little bit. But yeah, I got him, and I'm hoping to God he does what he usually does.
I guess for me, it depends where you are in your draft order. You know?
Yeah.
Because I don't think taking him in the third round is crazy.
Third round?
Isn't that what you're? Isn't that what that guy said? Take him in the third round.
No, third pick.
Pick.
He won't be there in the third round.
I was like, I was like, Brandon, what are you talking about? The fifth? Like, he's not gonna be what?
No.
No,
I got
Jimmy
really
Graham,
high
we're
then. I
not
was like,
talking about rounds. We're talking about picks.
Okay,
Jimmy.
okay, like round. Okay. Yeah, if I was at the bottom of the snake, then yeah, I would take him.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would take him as the third pick overall. Because there's at least, here's my issue, is that there's about 5 running backs that you need to get your hands on. And if you have a chance at one of those guys, you have to do it.
Yeah.
And then if you want to take Jimmy Graham, go for it. But if you're in one of those top 5 slots, you have to get one of those backs. You have to.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to.
Me too.
But outside of that, yeah, you draft him wherever you want. But if you'd be crazy town to take him. Crazy. Over those guys. That'd be nuts.
Well, and to be fair, though, I mean, if you're taking one of the first 4 or 5 people, you know you will not have Jimmy Graham.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're a New Orleans fan or you really love him, I guess you're right. You won't get him if you don't take him. But at the same time, do I think at the end of the draft you'll look at your team and be happy? I'm not quite sure.
Here's what I recommend too, and you know, I will make a promise right here to do this. But there's rankings that list every position combined, and when you look at those rankings in PPR leagues and everything, it is jam-packed with mainly running backs, wide receivers, and quarterbacks, and a couple tight ends. And those are at the bottom of like a top 20 list. So that's another good way for you to look at it and be like, yeah, he's the best in his position, but there were still 15 guys that scored more points last year. You know what I mean? Because then it seems like it's a bit more of a reach.
Yeah, I mean, if I can get LaShawn McCoy, Antonio Brown, who would be there in the 3rd round? Pierre Garçon, maybe, or something.
Okay.
I think I'd be happier with that and then getting Jordan Cameron later in the draft than if I took Jimmy Graham first and then, like, what? Who would be a 2nd round running back?
In a PPR?
Yeah. Maybe Monty Ball.
Monty Ball, yeah.
Then
people
you get
are
somebody like a Chris Johnson, maybe. But
Yeah,
I mean, but you're gonna miss out on getting a high-end 2nd wide receiver. Instead, you're just gonna get a high-end tight end, which, you know, to each their own. But as you said, I think you need to go in it with a plan. If you're gonna take Jimmy Graham high, you better have a very good plan for the rest of your draft. Yeah. So you don't feel like you just sold your soul to the Saints.
You better get the best of the best RB2, RB3. Like get the top notch of the 2nd tier.
Yeah.
Well, I just think if you're going to draft Jimmy Graham in the 1st round, especially if early in the 1st round, then you need to basically sacrifice one of them, right? You have to sacrifice wide receiver or running back and just know you're going to get 2nd tier guys, and then you just stay on the waiver wire and you're only focusing on that position.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting. Okay, so from Steve Behringer at BMan14Luck. Maybe he's an Andrew Luck fan. He says the AFC East strength of schedule is so easy. Could you win a fantasy league with all AFC East players?
What?
No. But I would love to see somebody try.
That's
so
awesome.
Please, somebody do that. Draft only AFC East players.
Yeah.
Let us know how it goes. We'll send you a mug. We will send you a Her Fantasy Football mug if you draft only AFC East players for your draft, and tell us how that works out.
Absolutely. We'll send you a mug. I'll even put candy in it for you.
Yeah, maybe a T-shirt even. And we'll put on the back there, we did not recommend doing this.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, by the way. All right. We have got SH Fantasy Advice says, if a team has no offense, they usually have a defense. Are there any full teams in the AFC that should be avoided in drafts? Why?
Raiders.
Yeah, you probably don't need Raiders.
Yeah, no Raiders. I mean, first of all, they're going to be going against their division, the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Chiefs, which are all 3 very, very good teams. And then they also have to play Arizona, San Francisco, Seattle, St. Louis. I mean, it's just going to be a hot mess for Oakland. Now, granted, I know, they're improving in training camp, which, duh, how could they not from last year? So I just feel like, I'm not saying don't draft Maurice Jones-Drew or Darren McFadden. I think if you can get them at a good value, they're going to be good picks, but that's it. That's like it, and that's just for a good value. I mean, it's not even your top running back, so Sorry, Raiders.
Ugh. I initially was like, I don't know, maybe Houston, but they got a decent D, and they just got Clowney, and they got J.J. Watt. And the Browns like, are you kidding me? Miami. I was like, yeah.
Miami, for sure. I literally will
Miami.
never draft anyone from there.
But that team is like that issue with that initially, as I was thinking, and shame on me for falling into this trap. I will say it right now. But I fell into that potential trap, thinking like, oh, well, they got Mike Wallace and they got Brian Hartline. Those are potential draftees, but
With no offensive line, you have no team.
no line.
That's it.
You're banking on Lamar Miller and hoping O'Shawn gets healthy. Tannehill's been kind of connected with Brian Hartline in preseason, but that always happens. And the regular season hits, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
And the O-line is bad, and I'll get to that in a minute here about Miami, but that's another one that in general you can just avoid.
You can avoid them. Last question, which is one of my favorite handle names, with an Ohio bias. Nice.
Nice.
I also like that he uses an instead of a in front of Ohio. He doesn't even save space. Grammar.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
Is Andy Dalton or the Browns quarterbacks worth drafting? Best AFC flex options? He also used the hashtag wreck this league, which I like.
Wreck this league.
We just did an article. I'm drawing a blank for. Who did we just write our quarterback wide receiver combo?
Yeah.
But I chose Andy Dalton. I love Andy Dalton. We have him ranked at 16th. I don't do the quarterback rankings, but I will guarantee you he'll be a top 10 quarterback again this year. He's amazing. He's great. He's a redhead and feisty and loves Jesus, and I just love it. So I'm,
and loves Jesus. Very important to your production.
Loves it. He wears a rubber.
Yeah.
He wears a rubber wedding band, so he doesn't have to take it off.
You stopped with he wears a rubber, and I almost
and
died.
I was like,
Sorry.
It got weird, Courtney.
It got really weird. It's like,
safety is sexy, but it got weird.
I love Dalton for so many reasons, but no. Love Dalton. He's wonderful. I would not be upset getting him. So Cleveland. Well, what do you guys think about Hoyer?
Well, I started laughing at this because I love it. Do you think Andy Dalton or the Browns quarterback, as if they're like one, like
right?
Yeah, it's Hoyer, people. Let's get this straight. It is Hoyer, and I actually really like Hoyer. He had good production until he got hurt, and he's got a decent crew around him. He has another year. He learned the offense. I like him. And I like the fact that his team is backing him. There's not seem to be as much team controversy like there was with Tebow as far as like, we want Manziel. It doesn't seem to be that way internally, so I like Hoyer. I'd still go Andy Dalton over Hoyer, but I like Hoyer.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And not only that, but the weapons that he has around him are just not as good as Dalton's.
Right.
He doesn't have it close to Alex Green, regardless of whether or not Josh Gordon gets a suspended reduced due to secondhand smoke, which we'll discuss later. But
I love that.
I just took him off our wide receiver rankings, and I was like, I'll put him in like my reserve so I can put him right back on. Love it.
Yeah, so anyway, I think that's interesting. I think we have a ton of flex options in the show for the AFC. I think the AFC is like just ripe for flex options. It's all based on matchup, and you're right. I mean, the AFC's defenses are just not even close to as good as the NFC defenses. So when they're not playing the NFC defenses, you can start them wherever you want, and I'm all for it. So,
although the good news that all this Ray Rice hubbub,
hoopla,
I think it's actually going to help Josh Gordon out because there's been such uproar.
I know.
I will say right.
Actually, I talked about that. I think
I've been one of them, but I think
they're lessening about Ray Rice hitting his wife.
I think they're going to lessen, and they almost have to lessen Josh Gordon's as a PR piece for the NFL. They have to. They just have to. Right?
Well, not to like jump to the Browns, but yes, and that's what I was saying is if there is a silver lining, it was for Josh Gordon because every tweet about Ray Rice was, so a guy smokes pot and gets the whole season, another guy hits his wife and gets 2 games. Every tweet was like that on the internet.
Yeah.
That's not entirely accurate, and he's done it multiple times, and I mean, and they also sign an agreement saying that they won't. But everyone was outraged about it. So if anyone kind of got a PR boost from this, it was definitely Josh Gordon.
For sure.
Definitely Josh Gordon. So
And Keith
we will
Olbermann
see.
in my mind. I love Keith Olbermann a little bit more now.
Yeah, he definitely had a good response.
I don't know if you guys saw that. I
was into it. I like him. Well, I'm going to move on real fast. So our show is going to be on about the AFC, and we're going to go by division. But I'm just going to recap real fast training camp for some of the NFC teams. Atlanta Falcons, surprise, surprise, Steven Jackson is out. He should be coming back the first game of regular season, but with being injured last year and being old, it's not good that he's out in training camp. So, sad day. Carolina Panthers wide receiver Calvin Benjamin gave the Panthers a scare when he was sidelined with a bone bruise, but he should be fine. He shouldn't miss much time, so that's good. And then there's a little bit of quarterback competition going on in Minnesota. Woo-hoo,
Teddy.
Yes, and I love Castle. I'm a huge Castle
You love
fan.
Castle.
I do. I love Castle, so I don't want him to lose his job, but Bridgewater's giving him quite the competition in training camp. New York Giants, we talked about this a little bit. David Wilson left practice early this week with a neck injury again. He's expected to return and start the season, but we know how fragile he is. And some of you will know Marshall Lynch was holding out for some money.
Money.
He was already the 5th highest paid running back. That's what didn't make any sense to me. Anyway.
I love him. Well, he's playing. He's back. So that was pointless. Don't worry, you can draft him. And Arizona Cardinals on Tuesday, cornerback Patrick Peterson signed a 5-year extension worth $70 million.
And I called him and I sent him chocolates.
Oh, I thought you said I sent him a few of my nude pics. I was like, good for you.
No, I am refusing those.
You sent him chocolates?
Hashtag yes, all women. Yeah, I was like, hey, call me.
Call me.
No,
Were you looking out for your single sister? Is that why?
Selfish. She's selfish,
Yeah.
Ashley. She's taking him herself.
I was already married.
So he's now the highest paid corner in the NFL.
I could use a husband and $70 million. I mean, selfish.
Yeah.
Details. Well, let's get back into the AFC people. I love training camp. It's so much fun to watch people get injured and be worthless and or be really good and be a surprise. So it's fun. Let's start off with the East. Ashley, Miami Dolphins. What's going on?
All right, so doing camp updates, injury report. So let's start with injuries. Pouncey is still out. He's rehabbing his torn labrum in his hip. Mike Wallace dated with a hamstring injury, and no Sean Marino. He's also day-to-day rehabbing from knee injury. So Pouncey is expected to return around week 8-ish. He's very important to that offensive line. So he's a huge, huge key player there. And Marino's expected back in time for the season or slightly after. So, I mean, who knows with him. But some of the big news out of Miami was that they've been shuffling up their O-line. So as you know, the Dolphins had a few O-line woes last year, both on and off the field. In case you live in a cave, they had some drama. But as far as they still haven't been very productive, and so they swapped in Nate Garner for Shelley Smith to see if that could do anything, because apparently there's quite a few botched snaps all training camp thus far. So you can't exactly add botched snaps to an already poor offensive line. That would be unfortunate. So, what do we also got here? So, as far as who you should and shouldn't draft, there's been a lot of talk about Lamar Miller. Have you guys been hearing this? People loving Lamar Miller. Right?
Yes. There's nothing to look forward to with the Miami Dolphins.
I know. They're talking about somebody. Yeah, I guess. But
every year we draft Lamar Miller and Wallace and Mike Wallace, and every year they end up on the waiver wires around week 8. Someone just drops them. Doesn't trade them, just drops them.
People.
It's a Jared Cook situation.
Jared Cook. It's so true. It really is true.
Every year.
So I'm having a hard time believing he's the guy. So if you felt compelled to draft someone from the Dolphins,
Don't stop believing.
I can't believe it. I can't. Maybe it's all those city lights, Journey. I don't know. But if you are going to, I'd say handcuff yourself, because Lamar Miller at some point, if they do end up going with him, is going to completely implode. It's a given. It's going to happen. And then they'll put Noshawn in when he's healthy. So you might be able to get Noshawn kind of low because of injuries, but I guarantee you Lamar Miller will not be the guy by the end of the season. It's not happening. It just won't.
But do you really want to handcuff yourself to
No, that's what I'm saying.
Miami, right?
I'm saying if you really felt compelled, I wouldn't touch any of them. Who you should have drafted, you should have drafted any of them. But
we went from don't draft anyone from Miami to draft 2.
I'm saying
In the same position.
If you're going to,
The Belsac.
you have to draft 2. You have to. If you're going to. That's what I'm saying. Again, I'm advising you.
And you'll have to get Prozac.
Against doing that.
You're depressing.
It's really. Can you imagine? I can't imagine. Again, we're not recommending this. Let's make this very clear, people. Don't draft a dolphin.
There are serious side effects to drafting a dolphin running back.
But if you're going
Constipation.
to, draft 2. That should be the moral of the story. Brian Hartline's another person you can maybe kind of consider. Him and Mike Wallace both are kind of guys that potential guys. But they've actually connected with Tannehill this preseason, so I'd be intrigued to see how they do in an actual game versus just a training camp or an OTA. So keep an eye on them. Again, if you are going to draft them, you got to be thinking wide receiver 3. You go anything above wide receiver 3, and you will regret it. I can promise you that.
Wide receiver 5.
Yeah, or 6 or 7.
It's a deep roster.
Fourth flex position, really,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Although Charles Clay,
I will agree with this one.
if you're going to draft a Dolphin, he's the one. If we're talking honestly here, he's the one. Because he actually can produce some numbers in terms of tight end numbers, non-elite tight end numbers, which, again, is everybody outside of basically Jimmy Graham and Josh Gordon, Vernon Davis. So he's actually doing pretty well in that position. That's really all you can ask for. So take what you will from that.
How about those Jets, Brandon?
Jets.
When you're a Jet all the way.
That's right.
The West Side Story.
You can't do cigarettes anymore, but yep, we're good to go. Till your last dying day.
Anyone want to be a shark?
Everyone wants to be a shark.
Really? I want to be a Jet.
Me
Probably
too.
because the guy from Seven Brides, Seven Brothers was in it.
Yeah, I think that's why.
Yeah. Gideon.
Mm-hmm.
Just say.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, let's talk about Jets in the NFL now.
Jets wide receiver David Nelson didn't practice on Wednesday due to a groin injury. He left early on Tuesday. He should be fine, though. Doesn't seem too serious. Running back Bilal Powell was out Wednesday due to a hamstring issue. He also left practice early on Tuesday. Running back Chris Ivory dealt with a hamstring issue this week, but he's back at practice. Second round pick tight end Jason Morrow sat out camp on Tuesday due to a minor knee issue. He was back on Wednesday. But more on that in a minute. And first round pick, rookie Calvin Pryor, is out for the third straight practice due to a concussion. You don't like starting your career in the league with a concussion that sets you out for a few days. So anyway, who you should and shouldn't draft? Well, sadly, my early sleeper is having a rough time, little Jason Morrow. He recently compared going from Texas Tech to the Jets as going from Chinese to English. So there's that. I don't know what you mean by that. Not a good sign. I don't love rookie receivers in general.
English is easier to learn than the Chinese language, right? Is that what he's trying to say? That it's easier?
I think this is exactly how confused this guy is. He doesn't even understand what he's saying.
Right?
He's like, I'm sorry, I'm totally overwhelmed. Yeah.
This is too much.
Clearly.
It is hard. It is hard, though. I mean, I'm with that. You know who looks great, though? Our favorite little Chris Johnson. Hello.
Love him.
He's going to be the guy that you take in your draft, and everyone's like, oh, Chris Johnson, he's not as good as he was. You know what? You're right. He's not going to get over 2,000 yards, but he's going to get over 1,000. and they love him. Rex is going on and on and on about his speed, about getting out on the outside, and he's loving on him, and he's loving on Daryl Richardson. Talk about blast from the St. Louis past.
Really?
Yeah, he's actually on the Jets right now, and Ivory is considered the number 2 right now, and Bilal Powell number 3. But
is the Jets a land of like misfit toys? It's all just kind of.
Yeah. I mean, well, the Raiders officially are the land of the misfit toys.
Two. Jets.
2. But overall, the defense is looking great. Like, great. Meaning that their offense is looking terrible. Terrible. Tons of turnovers, which is great for the defense. Terrible for the offense. So it hasn't been great. Neither Gino or Vic are running away with the job, but Geno Smith took all the first-team reps the last practice. There's no reason to not believe that he'll be it because they have more invested in him, and we have him ranked at 30, so that tells you a lot. Eric Decker is also getting praise. Surprise, they say he's easily the best receiver on the team.
Shocking. I would hope so. Right?
I mean, you guys, when I read things like this, I go, is this journalism? Is this what we've come to? So, considering that last year Curley was the leading Jets receiver with 523 total yards, yeah, I believe Decker is the best receiver on the team.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put myself on a limb here. I think he will have double the amount of yards Curley had.
Whoa.
If my mic wasn't freestanding, I would have dropped it.
Boom.
We have him ranked number 27. I'm into it.
Boom.
Boom. How can you not be into easily the best wide receiver on the team?
You guys remember that? I was like, oh. Surprise!
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Let's get into the Patriots, shall we? So today at camp, Revis had a pick 6 on Brady.
Another one. He's happened every day.
I know. It's amazing. I love it.
You can tell why the Jets should have taken him back.
Right?
Oh my gosh, he can read Brady like a book. It's scary.
It's amazing. It's good. It's good. Rookie running back James White is exceeding expectations. Ooh. Belichick says he has sure hands and is already comparing him to Vereen. So, running back by committee again. It's awesome. Love you, New England.
Yeah.
And one quick thing about my man Belichick. Dude, you don't pick up a man off of IR. And I hate you just a little bit more now that you picked up Tyler Gaffney from the Carolina Panthers, who jacked up his knee, and you picked him up. You guys are bastards. I know you know that. I know you're into that, and it's cool, but I hate you. And I just want to say that.
It's what we do.
It's what they do. It's what the Patriots do. No other teams do that because it's mean. It's unwritten rule. You don't pick up a guy off IR, but they did it.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised?
No.
I have a fun fact, though, for when people are going into their draft this year.
Ooh.
Bill Belichick has only ever had left-footed punters.
That's a very random fact.
And completely irrelevant.
Completely irrelevant. How did you find that fact out?
I was watching tape, and some announcer said it, and I was like, well, that's fascinating.
It is fascinating. But like Courtney said, totally irrelevant.
Totally irrelevant, but just talking about weird things they do.
So what you're saying is if he's a right-footed punter on the IR, Belichick's not going near him.
No.
That's
how you keep your guys safe from Belichick.
Yeah.
Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey.
The secret is out.
It's done. Oh, who you should and shouldn't draft. Well, you know what? What the hell? Draft them all. Why not? I mean, Tom Brady. Exactly, Brandon. It's exactly what I'm about to say. You can draft all of them in the late rounds. Do not
Except for
reach
Gronk.
for any of them. Well, Gronk, I think third in the, we have him ranked third, and I think he should go in the third round, maybe early fourth. But I wouldn't reach any higher than that for him, just because he does get injured. Same with Amendola. He gets injured. He never finishes a season. So for me, he's the only one I wouldn't draft. I would not draft. And I'm not going to draft Tom Brady because I can't stand Tom Brady, but, whatever. We have him ranked 11th, so he's a low-end number 1 quarterback. So there you go. Shane Vereen, we have him ranked 26th. I've cautioned on him because, as I said earlier, running back by committee here. It seems like Vereen, some days they like him, some days they don't, so that scares me. I don't really like that. Belichick is really hard to read, and he loves lying to people. So you can only take so much what he says in his press conferences, and you just kind of have to go with your gut on this.
Do you guys think Courtney's hatred for the Patriots might even be stronger than mine was last season?
It's gotten weird.
We're gonna have some really fun write-ups about the Patriots from Courtney. I feel it.
I'll tell you who I love and I want on my team is Julian Edelman. I do love Edelman. I like him. I think he's great. We have him ranked 22nd. I think he's a great value where you can get him at the draft. I'm into him. I would not mind him being on my team.
Especially PPR.
Let's not forget Mr. Goskowski.
Yeah.
Hello.
Best player on the team.
Goskowski.
And he will probably be the best player on your fantasy team if you get him. A consistent 8 points every week, people, if not more. I love him. He's great. New England.
Are we dropping the mic after every single one of our things today? We should.
I'm feeling classy. We're just doing it.
Oh, man. Talk about feeling classy. Those Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills. Injuries. Updates. Scott Chandler left practice on Sunday with a groin injury that might keep him out for some time. No timetable for his return.
Those are dumb ones.
But don't worry, there are 2 other tight ends that are also out. Tony Moeaki, hamstring that looks really bad, also no timetable for the return. And Chris Gregg, hospitalized with a heat-related cramping. I actually did first read it as heart-related, and I got really scared, and I just repeated heart-related. But it's heat-related cramping. Defensive phenomenon, linebacker Kiko Alonso, in case you missed it, he's going to miss the entire season due to an ACL injury. And, of course, there's a ton of craziness surrounding this ownership situation. So that's interesting. Supposedly they're going to go over for $1 billion. It's a circus. There's the owner of the Buffalo Sabres. Hello. Sorry. Terry Pagula.
Sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds right. It's between him, that guy. It's between that guy, and then there's Donald Trump and John Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
I want Donald Trump.
Oh, man.
Drama. Love it.
The NFL Apprentice.
Right.
Can you imagine how he'd run a training camp? It would be awesome.
Goodness.
And the hair.
Yeah.
So good.
Everyone would be fired all the time. Yeah, but everyone wants Pagula to get it so that they stay in Buffalo because no one knows what
that's
Donald
true.
Trump is a wild card, and then John Bon Jovi is like part of a Toronto-based group, so they would move him to Canada probably.
What? It's crazy.
But if you want to talk about the team, well, I think based off the injuries, don't draft a tight end. You're welcome. We had Chandler at 35 anyway. You wouldn't draft him anyway. Ageless Wonder, Fred Jackson, fan favorite and favorite of the show, just signed a 1-year contract extension. Hello, McFly. He's a quality flex player. If you want to talk about flex, you can get him super low. They always use him. Don't listen to this, this year he's going to get nothing. No, he's going to get something.
Already drafted him.
Yeah, I think I did too in 2 drafts. I love him. Like where you can get him, it's crazy. So now CJ Spiller's in this like stud territory for fantasy drafting. He's a little bit scary because of last year's disappointment, but maybe a nice preseason will wipe my mind clear. Yeah. Sammy Watkins, though, is supposedly having a nice preseason. He's a little off sometimes with EJ Manuel, but overall looking really great. People are already predicting that he's going to be Rookie of the Year, and maybe. And then Robert Woods is the other starter. So no huge surprise here, but he's also a great sleeper. We have him ranked at number 52, and I think we're probably even a little higher than a lot of people. So that's great value. Flex value from our social media questions. I'm nervous about the Bills' defense, though. The injuries are a little scary. The change in the scheme. I don't know. And we have them at 11, which puts them right at maybe draftable. But I might let them be on waivers and pick them up if they end up being stud muffins. But it's a little tough. Those are the Bills.
Those are the Bills. Let's move on to the AFC North. Cincinnati Bengals. Dun, da, da, da. Geno Atkins returns from his injury to practice.
Geno.
Such a good name.
It is a good
It is a
name.
great name.
If we had
He's
any
a great player.
Italian, I would name my kid Gino.
I know.
I know.
But having like a
can
French
do it anyways.
background, naming your kid Gino is a bit weird. No.
Nobody knows.
I thought it was so weird and like kind of a ripoff that we're not Italian. We're all dark-haired. I don't understand.
I know.
Nope. Those ancestors. But he's back and he's a huge part of the defense, and this is great news for the already strong Cincinnati Bengals defense. Love him, love him, love him.
Love.
And, you know, what I love about training camp in Cincinnati is that there's already been punches thrown. It's so intense. It's so good. I just can't wait for them to be on the field in real games because this is just awesome. Linebacker Emmanuel Lamur and A.J. Green got into it. You know, don't hurt A.J. Green, though, because I want him. Yeah. Don't do that to me. Don't do it. Love him. And then right after that, there was another fight with rookie linebacker Flowers and third-string center T.J. Johnson. It's like, stop. I love it. Give me more. I don't know why. I really enjoy the fighting on the field between teammates. It's enjoyable. As long as
shows a lot of unity.
Not in the locker room, Dolphins. If they are already, kicking each other, I'm just excited about the team. So, and then Bengals cornerback Chris Lewis Harris is suspended for 2 games. So there's that. But who would I start and not start? As I said earlier, Andy Dalton, I think, is amazing. I'm all about him. You can get him lower in the draft, and I think he is going to be awesome for you. Why? Because he's throwing to A.J. Green, and he is a player you're going to draft. He is amazing. Get him whenever. Totally into his stuff. Great. Marvin Jones, we have him ranked 43rd, and he's a machine. Now, he's a bit of a roller coaster, very boom or bust kind of player. So we're talking low wide receiver 3 kind of thing, flex position, but not a bad pick. Not a bad pick late. I'm okay with him. Giovanni Bernard. Yes, but I'm not reaching for him. If you're in a PPR league, I'm totally okay with getting him earlier. But if you're not, I'd wait. Late 3rd round if he's there.
I need to see this scheme that supposedly is going to make him a superstar.
Yeah. I'm waiting because I'm not a believer.
No.
Nope.
No.
I thought he was talented, but I remember watching Jarvis Green Ellis. Some games looked great compared to him.
Well, that's the thing. There is no Green Ellis, so the competition for him has kind of gone away a little bit, which maybe he'll feel more comfortable and more of a running back 1 kind of guy, so he'll show that. But it's all like hopes, and there's the potential. Well, I too am leery of it, and I'm waiting on that. As far as tight end, we have him ranked 28th, Tyler Eifert. I mean, people are talking about, you know what, he'll be on the waiver wire. Don't do it.
Don't reach.
Don't reach for it. But Cincinnati's defense, thumbs up, love them, get them, yay. Pittsburgh Steelers.
I always feel like a bit of a dick when I write this, but there's no one of any consequence on your fantasy team that's injured right now. There's people that are injured on the Steelers, but I'm not going to mention them because they have absolutely no importance to you. So,
yeah,
sorry. you know. And there are some defensive players out, but the Steelers' D isn't.
They're not
on
what
your
they used to
fantasy
be.
radar right now, you know. So
No, it's the way it is.
is what it is, right? So
I think that's great news, though, because I want the Steelers that are good at fantasy, so keep them in.
yeah, so tight end Rob Blanchflower is out indefinitely with an ankle injury. That's the only thing I'll even mention. Not that he's really on your radar either, but thought I'd throw at least one of them in there. There's only been a few days of camp, but the rookies have actually been looking pretty good. I'm going to really botch a lot of these names up, so I'm sorry.
Great.
But Stephon Tuitt, Ryan Shazier, Martavis Bryant. I want to name my kid Martavis as well. Like, how great is that name? Martavis.
Great name.
Yeah. And then Shaquille Richardson. Again, okay. I'm making one quick jump to the NBA here. But I don't feel like anyone should be allowed to be called Shaquille unless it's Shaquille O'Neal.
You should retire his name. Is that?
Yeah, like people retire jerseys. Let's retire the name Shaquille.
It's like
agree.
Beyonce,
Beyonce, Cher,
Madonna.
You can't name your kid that.
I was about to say Bette Midler and it just together. It really is not cool.
Even like when I meet a Barbara, I'm kind of like,
Perhaps, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah. I digress. Anyway, that guy Richardson, they've all looked pretty good. They've been pretty impressive, and they've had great energy, you know, out there with the rookies, and they've had some good performance on the field. And it's a little early to make the kind of claim, but people are thinking that they're kind of the guys. They're going to be the ones in a position to start. So I'm excited to see it. Now, there's been kind of an interesting kind of QB situation where no one's really quite sure what's going to happen there, and the thought is that they probably are only going to keep 2 quarterbacks on the team, probably because the backups aren't looking super solid. And honestly, you don't even really need a super solid backup because Big Ben plays no matter what. He could play without a limb and he'd still play, right?
It's all those going home after practice instead of staying late that keep him in all season long, Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, I mean, you know. So the QB situation will be interesting to kind of watch and follow. And, of course, Troy Polamalu is the fan favorite, obviously. Huge cheers for him at camp. I love him, too. That hair is just great. Who I should and should not draft. You are drafting Le'Veon Bell. That is a given. Granted, I put him as an RB2, but depending on the size of your league. If you are in a standard 12, then he's an RB1. He's a bottom tier RB1. If you're anything below that, he's a top tier RB2. So, yeah, he's obviously one that you're drafting. Big Ben, he's not your starting quarterback. They do great in terms of real football, but in fantasy football, it doesn't really put up huge numbers. But he puts up enough numbers to actually be a really good backup. So think about him. Antonio Brown's a top 5 wide receiver. He's gold. Like, he's literally gold. You do anything you can to get him. And another guy I would actually consider is Marcus Wheaton. So he shows potential, and out of all those guys out there that are these potential guys, I think he actually has some of the biggest upside. So I like him a lot, and I would consider drafting him.
Well, they have to have somebody
a lot
to
of catches.
Yeah, they have to fill somebody for Sanders. So
yeah, and
Jericho Cotchery.
Yeah,
the touchdown steal.
He's reaping the benefits of that. He really is. So I like him. Again, that kind of depending on the size of your league, W2, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 kind of category. He's no Antonio Brown, but he's going to be solid. He's going to have a lot of upside this year.
I bet you could even get him as your wide receiver 5.
Hey, maybe just because of the size of your league. I mean, he's kind of low, but I think what's going to happen, like you're saying, is he's going to show what he's really doing during preseason, and he's going to get bumped up the rankings a bit.
I agree. I already bumped him up a few spots, and I think he'll go up even higher for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I wanted him to be my little secret.
Sorry, Brandon.
He's no secret.
Wheaton is out there. And no one else is out there? The Baltimore Ravens. Hello. Can we get a rise on our TV? But before I get into that, 4th round draft pick DL Brent Urban is out for the season with a torn ACL. So there you go, Patriots. If you want another guy to pick up, there he is. There he is.
It's there for the taking.
Yeah. Defensive end Timmy Jernigan's, I think. Jernigan's, excuse me, has been out of practice with back spasms, but should return shortly, so we'll see. Ladarius Webb is sidelined as well. That's not great. Rookie wide receiver Jeremy Butler is out with a groin, as well as OG Will Rackley. And no major injuries to key players from the Ravens. So that's good.
Is OG his real name?
No. Offensive guard.
I was like,
His name's Will.
I saw the notes. I was like, if someone actually named their kid OG, that's awesome.
OG. Although somebody did name their child hashtag. I don't know if you guys saw that. This is pretty bad.
I told you that the L-A story, right?
Yeah.
I digress one more time here, Brandon.
Ladasha?
Yes, this teacher was reading the roster of kids, and it was L-A, and he's like, I don't know how to say this. He goes, La, and she's like, do you mean Ladasha? Awesome.
Awesome.
When we start putting symbols in names, it just makes me. That's a little too high tech for me.
You know, Dottie's gonna be the next one, with a period and an E. Dottie. Or OG, baby. OG.
That's periody. It's not good. That's not good.
Periody here. Dottie.
Thanks for making us giggle before we get into Ray Rice. I appreciate it.
I wanted to lift the spirits.
Yeah. And of course, Ray Rice has been suspended for knocking out his then fiance and dragging her out of the elevator, so he'll be out for only 2 games.
Moment of silence.
Moment of silence. Way to go, Roger Goodell. And who you should and shouldn't draft. Joe Flacco, 24th. No. Don't do it. Move on. Don't do it. Ray Rice, ranked 20th.
Judgment call.
Judgment call.
Can do what you would like to do.
Absolutely.
I think I stated a month ago he will not be on my fantasy football team.
But he didn't do well last year, so you can feel better about that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he didn't do well last year. You know, he's had, obviously, his stuff going on this offseason. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you're not going to be drafting him high, although some people are going to, and just let them and say la vie. Torrey Smith, you know, in PPR link, I'd get him a little higher. In standard link, I'd wait a little bit. You know, it's a new offense, and it's exciting, and Kubiak's there, so maybe, you know, supposedly Torrey Smith's numbers are going to go up. Flacco's going to be standing up, which is exciting for him, seeing how he's got sacked almost 50 times last year. Yeah, so, you know, Torrey Smith's a hard one because last year, you know, I know we were all yelling at our screens like, stop, Torrey, get open, catch a ball, you know, kind of thing. But I think this year he's going to do better. You know, they have Steve Smith, which is exciting, you know. I was talking to my husband about it. He's just such a badass, you know. And he thinks he's so cool, and he plays that way on the field. And now he's got a chip on his shoulder, being, you know, cut from his only team he's ever played for in the NFL. So I kind of like him this year. I kind of think that he's gonna be like feisty and scrappy, and that's great. I love that for a wide receiver, bottom 2, maybe 3. You know, that's where I would put him. I wouldn't reach for him. You know, Dennis Pitta, everybody keeps talking about him. Like, we have him ranked 9th. I'm not into him. Just not.
Well, are you into any tight ends, though? Look at the other ones around there.
I don't have the best tight ends on my teams, all right? And I'm into Rob Gronkowski. There you go. But no, he's injured. He was injured last year, and even in his best year, he averaged 6 points. So, I mean, it's not even like was fabulous when he was fabulous. So, you know, no. But you know who I do love on the Baltimore Ravens is Justin Tucker.
Yeah, you do.
Take him. Love him. He's a kicker, by the way. But yeah, I'm into him. Oh, more drama. I love that we go from Baltimore to Cleveland. Does it get any more drama there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Courtney, I like that you have a lot of good kickers this year. It seems appropriate.
Courtney's really jazzed by kickers thus far.
I am.
Love him.
Love him.
Cleveland Browns. So Josh Gordon's going to appeal his suspension, and the case will be heard on Friday. We may not hear on Friday, but that's when the case will be heard in front of the commissioner. He's going to have a some sort of what do you call it? The guy he should have had there when he was making Ray Rice decisions, a mediator. So anyway, as some of you know, he's claiming that he failed the drug test due to secondhand smoke.
Yep.
Now, to be fair, he is the only player to fail a test blowing below the threshold of 15 nanograms per milliliter of marijuana in his system. Now, here's the deal. I somehow have 2 players suspended for substance abuse, and I know nothing about it. But I'm sure that means something, what I just said. And
well,
supposedly it's good news for him.
Does that mean he was taking like a shotgun in? Is that in? I don't know if you guys know what that means. That means somebody takes a hit and then they blow the hit into your mouth. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's go to the resident expert here.
That's secondhand smoke.
I don't know what he's claiming, but supposedly he might have a case. I don't know.
Yeah, this is what is interesting. Again, I feel like I should go to the resident expert here, but they do have tests. So, obviously in Colorado, it's legal, but they have to have a way to know if you're too high to drive. And I guess there is blood tests to tell if it is basically immediate or secondhand and what level that is and essentially how many days it takes for it to fully exit your system. So you can actually get an idea, I guess, of kind of when it was smoked. And if he's in that 15 nanogram per millimeter range, again, I don't know what that means, but that obviously means it has to be pretty low. He may have a case. He may have...
Except that they're going to say, you'd already had a drug violation. You shouldn't be hanging around people, in like a closed vehicle, all smoking weed? Yeah, you're going to get high.
Well, maybe.
I mean, I'm just saying, I think that but like we said earlier, I think the Ray Rice suspension does set a precedent of being a lot more lenient. So I think they're going to have to do something. And let me tell you, if he gets any games reduced, ladies... Take him when you can.
Pick him up.
On it.
Drop it like it's hot. And in case we weren't clear before as far as who you should and shouldn't draft, Brian Hoyer is the starting quarterback in Cleveland. I would like to announce that again, along with the Cleveland Browns and anyone who's seen a practice. We have Hoyer ranked at 26 only because the weapons aren't great, and frankly, this Johnny Manziel insanity is just too much. Even if finally ESPN is writing articles about how he's not going to start game 1, game over. Because they've been trying to push him for so long, right? So there's a running back competition, though, between Ben Tate and Terrence West, although weird things are coming out of camp. I heard once that he was that Terrence West was on the injury list due to conditioning issues, and then I'm also hearing that he's having the best camp of his life. And so I'm not entirely sure what's going on.
My dog is freaking out, sorry.
I thought that was Mom and Dad's dog.
No, we're babysitting our house. I shouldn't babysitting. Kind of, I guess, a puppy, and the puppy's out of control, and our dogs hate the puppy. Which
your dogs hate all other dogs. I like it.
My dog is such a little bitch. I tell you, and the other one too. And this poor puppy is just getting knocked out, and then we end up screaming the whole time to the puppy. So sorry.
It's okay. I'm fine with it. I thought they were upset about the competition too.
Yeah, they are.
They are upset. Also, Miles Austin we have at number 69, and we haven't even ranked Andrew Hawkins, but I think they might be steals. Brian Hoyer's playing. I actually think that as long as they're on the field, I talk about sleepers. I wouldn't waste your time with Nate Burleson or Anthony Armstrong, just putting that out there, but I think those 2 guys are worth drafting as flyers. Obviously, Jordan Cameron's a top 10, maybe top 5 guy, and Cleveland's defense is very interesting. I like their coach. He's a defensive guy. They were already good last year. We have them at 12. I think they might go up. I think in the offseason or in the preseason we'll see some good stuff.
Nice. Nice. AFC South, Indianapolis Colts. Reggie Wayne is back, and he looks great. After tearing his ACL last year and turning 35, kind of thought it was over for him, but I guess he's great. I guess he's good. He looks great in training camp, so I'm all in. Hey, why not?
These guys are bionic men, right?
They
He and
are.
Fred Jackson like hang out on the weekends. They drink like unicorn juice.
Seriously.
That's the only answer.
Yeah.
I can't even get out of bed in the morning without my knees cracking. I don't know what these guys are doing.
It's awesome. I mean, I love that he's having a good camp. I'm into that. And tight end Dwayne Allen is back as well and healthy. So, it seems like Andrew Luck's got all of his guys back. He's going to be awesome. As we said, we have him ranked 4th, and I love him. So, pick him up.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah, Trent Richardson's an emotional roller coaster. Draft him as a running back 3 or a flex if you dare. T.Y. Hilton, we have him ranked 29th. He's kind of a boomer or bust player. I feel like the Indianapolis Colts are going to be a little bit more consistent this year. With Reggie Wayne coming back and Dwayne Allen coming back, I feel like they're going to get a little bit more into their routine. So hopefully that means T.Y. will be a little bit more consistent as well. I do like him. And Hakeem Nicks, we have him ranked 37th. This is a good team with a lot of receivers. So I wouldn't be mad at any of them at the right price. So I like the Colts.
And that is free. I agree.
Yes. Yeah, so that's the Colts. How about the Texans, Ash?
I'm so excited to report on this team.
Next is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Get excited.
Woo! It's picking up. No real injuries that will concern your fantasy team other than the fact that Arian Foster is now back with his hamstring injury. So he's kind of slowly getting worked in here, but he's expected to be back by season, so nothing really that's too concerning. And then Andre Johnson is also still not playing. But there was an Andre Johnson sighting at camp.
Great.
And he's allegedly
big
back.
Foot.
And he exists. He's out there.
It's real, people.
So his hamstring has him sidelined at the moment, but allegedly he's there to play. I guess. I mean, allegedly he and Coach Bill O'Brien have been having some good conversations, some open dialogue, and he's ready to play. So hopefully things will move forward there. Arian Foster. So he's a guy that you want on your team. He's also a solo back, and that is like winning the lottery. That is what you look for. Ryan Fitzpatrick, while not sexy as a player, he himself is very sexy. Crazy smart. With a backwoods kind of beard. Just saying. But he's a solid QB too. So look at your bye weeks, and depending on who you take as your starting quarterback, there's that top tier, that kind of Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, yada yada. Look what the bye weeks are, and because you need the guy to play then. And if it's a good matchup for Fitzy can actually produce you some big numbers. Like we're talking in the 20s here. So if it's not playing against a crazy hard defense, go for it. Pick him up. Andre Johnson, as I said, he's back, wants to play some football. These guys are professionals. They're going to go out there every day of the regular season and play to win. Kind of like with Marshawn Lynch, they'll hold out in the offseason. But when it comes time to play, they're there and they're going to play. So you don't really have to worry about that. But with that said, I am loving DeAndre Hopkins.
Love it.
Loving him. He's a solid player, and he's really come in and learned the offense this year. He's looking great in training camp. He's going to get lots of looks. He, had the advantage of all that time with Fitzy while Andre Johnson was holding out, so
Crying. Like
Ryan. So, and DeAndre Hopkins is like, I'm a mate. I think he is going to be awesome. I think he's going to be right below Andre Johnson in terms of targets and in terms of points, fantasy points. So, and also if his value would be even bigger if Andre Johnson isn't ready to play by the time season starts due to his injury. So keep an eye on that as well when you're thinking about drafting, because that's going to automatically bump him up a bit in the rankings. So love me some DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, yeah. I love Jacksonville Jaguars. No?
Why not?
Who doesn't?
Why not? Everyone's suspended. Wide receiver Ace Sanders will serve a 4-game suspension for violating the league's substance abuse policy. However, he actually had a very heartfelt, I'm so sorry, I'm a failure kind of talk. Unlike wide receiver Justin Blackmon,
Totally unapologetic.
Already suspended for a year, and then was arrested for possession of marijuana. Just don't count on him coming back. I notice he's still in our rankings. I find that funny.
Sorry.
I almost think we should just keep him there because,
I
like,
almost
why
want
not?
to.
See who's like actually paying attention.
I think we should hold out till Manziel is no longer in other people's rankings.
What I should
Then
do is
we'll
I should
remove
do
Justin Blackman.
a wide receiver ranking, and then I should do a pot smoking ranking.
Right.
Yeah.
Most
do you wanna
likely to come
party
back
with?
from
Most
substance
likely to
abuse.
get exactly.
Well, don't worry. We have more wide receiver news. Wide receiver Cecil Shorts suffered a ton of injuries, but most recently he's trying to handle a hamstring thing. So what are we left with? 2 rookie wide receivers, one of which is also suffering an injury. But yeah.
Blake Bortles is going
Marquise Lee and Allen Robinson. Hello.
Big names. Big names.
Big names. Anyway, they're so excited though. Gus Bradley is a lovable coach. He really is. Like, I really like him. I think they're on the right path. I'm really excited for next year for them, as in 2015. But I am glad that they've given him a chance. Jordan Todman actually is looking great. The perennial backup with the most. He looks great. He's a great handcuff to Toby Gerhart. And that's a great roster stash for those of us that are cynical about Toby Gerhart lasting a whole season as a quote-unquote workhorse.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it when they use that language. It's like, remember when they told us CJ Spiller was going to be workhorse last year?
It is like a good running away point when you hear that. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, it just makes me cringe. I know they're trying to be like happy or good, or I don't know what they're trying to be, but it just makes me go. Blake Bortles came into camp prepared. That's nice. So anyway, but still look for Chad Henne to start. They have no intentions of giving Blake Bortles the starting position. And then sleeper alert, I like Mercedes Lewis as a little tight end. Tight ends are, terrible, right? They're all terrible. But I think Mercedes Lewis is actually kind of the veteran on the team, and now that all the wide receivers are gone, I figure someone's going to catch something. I think it's going to be him. So I'm seeing him in the red zone.
Red zone.
Jaguars.
Tennessee Titans.
So Dexter McCluster has
No.
been getting a lot of touches.
I know.
Brandon, no.
He's another perennial Jared Cook guy.
What is so fascinating about Dexter McCluster is that he's one of those guys that you question yourself as to what his position is, right? Because he's technically a wide receiver, but he plays the running back, and he's been getting touches in the running back position right now from the backfield. So even though Bishop Shaky is expected to be the dominant back, the workhorse, if you will, there's still Sean Green. I can see them doing some interesting packages with Dexter McCluster back there because he kind of is a hybrid player. He really is. But that makes him actually kind of really hard for you to draft.
I was going to say, those who do everything oftentimes end up doing nothing.
I know, because they try to create these special plays for them, these special kind of packages.
Yeah.
It's like the Wildcat.
Yeah. Like, what was the other thing they kept calling the Wildcat back with Tebow?
Fantasy murder.
No, but it should be. Oh, it's so true. Yeah, so I like him, I don't like him. It's something that you need to think about because, like they said, sometimes when these guys can do everything, they don't do anything. There's been a lot of expectations and pressure on wide receiver Justin Hunter. And he's been having kind of a mixed bag training camp. So he's been compared to Randy Moss. I'm not sure if that's actually good or bad. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully he'll get better, and we can get an idea of what you're going to kind of actually expect from him as the season goes on. But I feel like he's kind of a boom and bust guy. So be cautious. Jake Locker also connected with some deep balls during camp, which is encouraging. But he still also threw a bunch that kind of sailed over the heads of his receivers, and he threw some interceptions. So don't get too excited. Still not a starting quarterback.
God, is there anybody that you're going to draft from the Titans?
I don't think so.
We forgot about them. I don't even, I just totally.
I mean, there's some, but okay, so, if you're in a PPR league, Dexter
Bishop
McCluster, maybe. Yeah, Kendall Wright
for sure.
I don't even mind Kendall Wright, Nate Washington, or Justin Hunter as that kind of lower end wide receiver from the size of your league. They've all got potential for a good game if it's a weak matchup. So look at your matchups with those guys in particular, because it all rides on Jake Locker. It literally all rides on him. So you need to have a weak matchup there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I guess Bishop Shanky, he will be the featured back in Tennessee, even though technically they still list Sean Green as the starter. That won't happen. That won't last very long. And I am always intrigued by Delaney Walker too.
Me too.
Right?
I like Lenny Walker. And Kendall Wright. Kendall Wright's like a borderline number 2 guy.
Kendall Wright is legit. Yeah.
PPR for sure.
Yeah.
But what's hard is that we're also thinking Kendall Wright with Fitzy in, because Jake Locker got hurt.
True.
So, I mean...
Well, it's not like Fitzy's a Hall of Famer.
You watch your mouth, Brandon Williams.
No,
Fitzy's not a Hall of Famer, but I think
He's a Hall of
Fitzy
Famer in here.
in the heart. No, but
In
he's
the
a lot
heart.
more consistent quarterback, in my opinion, than Jake Locker. And it's just different styles. I think Kendall Wright will be fine. Like I said, he's gonna be fine. Nate Washington and Justin Hunter will probably be fine. They'll be on your team. They may not be starting on your team all the time, but they'll be on your team. But it all rides on Jake Locker. It really does, 100%. So that's my feeling. There's not a whole lot of love for the Tennessee Titans, but there's some guys out there.
There's some.
Kendall Wright's the best of them. And Bishop
AFC
Shanky.
West, Ashley. Who's your love gonna go to? The Chiefs.
Well, lucky for you, there's no real injuries to date that will affect your draft either with the Chiefs. Yay, except for Pro Bowl safety Eric Berry and Marcus Cooper. So Cooper plays cornerback, safety for Eric Berry. They both left practice with injuries. Berry's is a lower leg injury, and all I could do is think immediately of Bill Belichick that won't ever tell me what the injury is, and he's like, it's somehow he is hurt below his belly button. You guessed
Or like
what.
Tom Brady's been questionable since 2005.
Questionable. The whole Patriots team is questionable. Yeah, so this is what it is. But lower ankle foot is kind of what we're hearing on there. And a troublesome hamstring injury for Cooper. Cooper's not even carted off the field. So that's a little bit more serious when you're carted off the field.
Yeah.
So I take that a little bit more in consideration because, again, those are 2 pretty key players for
On a fabulous
their
defense,
fabulous defense.
2013.
So
So
keep an eye on that when you're doing your drafting. Get an idea of how long they're actually going to be out, and we'll give you updates on that. Jamal Charles is the man, obviously, as far as who you should draft. He's the man. Like, he is the guy you want, right? Top of the draft boards for most people, so don't be foolish and try to get cute and think you're going to draft someone like Chris Johnson and be like, it's his year. Don't do that. You can get him later, but don't do it. If he's still available, take him. Alex Smith would be a great backup quarterback. Again, he's not your starter unless you're in a really deep league. But Andy Reid loves this guy. I mean, contract negotiations. He says, Alex Smith is my kind of guy. I've been a big fan of him for a while. So I think, and part of it might be Andy Reid's strategy to really put confidence into Alex Smith, to feel like, this is his team. So I'll be intrigued to see how that goes. How I won't
I'd like
draft
them to put confidence in Alex Smith by getting him wide receivers.
yeah, how about that?
I won't
How about
draft
that?
Dwayne Bowe. Dwayne Bowe had a couple
So-
of good catches in camp, but again, it's Dwayne Bowe. I can't. And Donnie Avery may be super late. I would draft him. Same with Dwayne Bowe. If it was super late and the value is there, like you got him in like the 15th round, you would draft him. But you're not drafting. That's really low for a number 1 receiver on a team.
Yeah.
Even that dog thought so.
Yeah, the dog was like, don't do it.
Don't do it.
She's attacking the puppy.
Yikes.
Yeah, so as good of a team as the Chiefs are, really, you're looking at Jamal Charles, the defense, if they're healthy, and Alex Smith is a backup. I hate those receivers. I hate them.
Yeah, it's tough because the Chiefs have had a lot of injuries. They're out 3 offensive linemen from last year. That's going
Terrible.
to affect Jamal Charles, and so Alex is going to have to get the ball out of his hands to the receivers. For Jamal to be successful, to give him a little bit of room. Jamal can do anything. He's amazing.
Yeah.
He'll find the hole, but it's going to be a different team this year, I think.
They have Travis Kelce, right? As a tight end that they just got. He's kind of a sleeper.
Kind of. I mean, I do agree they're going to have to dump the ball off pretty quickly because the offensive line is pretty weak at the moment.
Yeah.
But Jamal's a good receiving back, so they'll probably actually do a lot of formations that involve him like right off the line, so that he can the line him up as a receiver, So that that's probably gonna happen. And they're gonna have to bring those wide receivers in too. So
the pocket's just gonna collapse and collapse and collapse. It just makes me really nervous for them.
But you know what? Alex Smith is actually quick on his feet, so he actually has potential to maybe get some more running yards this year. He's gonna have to scramble a bit more than he did last year, so it could be actually. I don't want to say it's never advantageous if you have an bad offensive line for a quarterback, but he'll definitely have a few more yards on the ground.
Well, the San Diego Chargers is an interesting little thing because they're actually pretty healthy, other than wide receiver Vincent Brown. He missed camp due to a sore calf, but you're not going to draft him anyway, so it's fine. You know who you should draft? Deal of the year, Malcolm Floyd. Supposedly he looks fantastic at camp. He's making all these big plays. You can get him in when did we get him in the draft? Like around 15?
I got him at the end of the draft with 12 men. Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
He's starting opposite Keenan Allen, who everyone's really down on Keenan Allen. Everyone's ranking him high, but if you listen to other podcasts, they're like, he's totally going to have a down year. He's not going to repeat. He's totally fool's gold. And I'm like, why? What? I'm not quite sure how that makes sense. I think that San Diego hasn't gotten any worse, for sure. I don't understand what the deal is with that. So I think he's ranked right at the 16th wide receiver off the board. I think that's appropriate. That puts him as a wide receiver 2. I think he's great as a wide receiver 2. And then you can get Malcolm Floyd whenever you please. He's literally just hanging out in the drafts. I don't understand what's going on there.
He's the best sleeper of the year, I think. I just I don't even have him ranked. Nobody has him ranked. I just love him. And I'm gonna keep him not ranked to make other people not draft him. How about that, people? He's amazing. Amazing.
We're telling you all our little secrets.
I know.
Don't tell anyone. And then, you know what, Rivers, he's ranked as number 15, but he may end up being your number 1 guy again. There's just a lot of good QBs this year. So, he's ranked at 15. I did the rankings. It's not because I don't like him. It's because I liked people just a little bit more. I thought they had a little more upside, but I think he's a great deal. I really like almost everyone on the team, including Ryan Matthews, which I know kills Ashley, except for their defense. And I'm not quite sure I would start defense going up Denver twice and then going up against that NFC West. That would be the only thing that I'm not in love with, is that the AFC West goes up against the NFC West this year, and that's just going to be tough. And everyone's defense got better. I don't know. Yeah. So I still think they're going to be great, but those are my thoughts on the San Diego Chargers.
Speaking of defenses have gotten better, the Oakland Raiders defense has gotten better. You're still not going to draft them, but they have gotten better.
If it was 2009, they'd be fabulous.
Yeah, exactly. Schaub says he never lost his mojo.
Did he have mojo?
I guess.
You can't lose it if you never had it, Courtney.
He says he's never lost it, actually. So there you go.
He did lose the code to his security system.
He will let random stalkers in. They didn't lose mojo.
It's too good. It's too good. Although Derek Carr is looking good too. So I don't know if Schaub will play the whole year. Who knows? It's a different offense. They seem to like him a lot. So maybe they'll wait on Carr until next year when they can build their team a bit. McFadden and Maurice Jones-Drew are still in one piece, so that's awesome.
Well, we're only a few days into camp, so
hey. They're still both there. But mostly the big talk about Oakland is the fact that they might go to San Antonio. So other than that, there's really nothing going on with Oakland. Who are you going to draft and not draft?
They're going to ride to the Spurs.
Yeah, they are. Well,
hitch a ride.
Maybe they'll do better there. Who knows? I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to draft a quarterback. I'm not going to draft any of the wide receivers. Maybe James Jones. We have him highest at 45. He's coming from Green Bay, but I'm not reaching for him. I'm not.
That's still your 5th wide receiver.
5th, right. Right. I
guess I'd tolerate him my 5th through 7th wide receiver on my team.
Tolerate.
Where you can get Jones-Drew, It's kind of a yes, I think. I wouldn't hate having Jones-Drew as my third running back. Why not? Same with Darren McFadden. I guess he's doing great, and this is gonna be his comeback year. So
what?
That's what they say. It's gonna be his comeback year. I know. They always say that.
They always say that.
They always say that. The guy gets injured, so I'm not putting any money on it. But and then the tight end Rivera. I mean, he's ranked 32, so there's 31 better tight ends out there, so I wouldn't do it. But I didn't want to end the show on the Oakland Raiders, so let's end the show on a high note. The Denver Broncos.
Not like the way we ended our season.
Yeah. Well, hopefully not. All right, that was depressing. So DeMarcus Ware has a leg. He's got a leg bruise. John Boyd has hurt back. Vaughn has a knee injury. But they're all considered to be minor. So nothing really to worry about there. As for play, Jeremiah's gone to camp. Emmanuel Sanders continues to impress with how speedy he is. He's beating corners left and right. Like, he's beating veterans. It's awesome. And Monte Ball's found some holes, and the O-line is looking good, which is, good news, not only for Ball, but for Manning as well. And we need to discuss, because, of course, it's the Broncos, so we love the Broncos, and we see a lot of coverage. But did you see the Manning dancing video?
I think dancing is a kind word.
Generous word there.
Generous.
I loved it.
Because Welker was doing a little, sidestep in action, and then you see whatever that was for Manning, and it was...
The Hobbit and the old man getting it down.
Awesome.
Awesome.
What was that song? Was it like a country song? What was that?
It's heinous. It's
terrible.
I blocked it out.
My other favorite part about training camp, because there's not a whole lot to report, because everyone's expecting how great they're being during training camp, which, again, standard quote right now. But was when Manning kept trying to get the guys to say blue balls.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this, Brandon? Yeah. So they have blue footballs they were tossed around in camp, and he kept trying to get the press to ask him questions about using the word blue balls. And he was like a 9-year-old boy, the way he's trying to get them to say it with this smirk on his face. And I'm like, I love you. You make football fun. So that's been really fun. As far as players you shouldn't draft, there aren't any players you shouldn't draft, honestly. I mean, same as last year. Manning, of course. Demaryius Thomas is a no-brainer. He's a top 3 wide receiver. Emmanuel Sanders is going to be hot this year. I just feel really good about Emmanuel Sanders.
He's going to go a lot higher than people want to draft him, but I think he'll be worth it.
I totally agree. I mean, he's becoming a go-to. Welker, he's always been a big part of the offense because he runs the slot. Julius Thomas is a top 5 tight end, and Monte Ball is showing a lot of promise. And even if he does screw up a little bit, he's still going to get the touches. He'll get the touches. And the defense looks pretty scary, too. So I would even add them into the mix this year, which I know seems like crazy talk with how awful they were last year. But they made defense a big priority in the offseason and the free agency. So they picked up a lot of big players there. So with, Talib and Ware and whatnot. So...
Yeah, I was watching NFL Network, and they were like, most improved team in the NFL. And they were like, the Denver Broncos. Is it possible that they are the most improved team after being amazing last year? But Emmanuel Sanders is better than Eric Decker. And then they went crazy in the offseason picking up defense guys. The defense is going to be so much better than they were last year if they all stay healthy.
So much better. So much better. I know. And, of course, we can't forget Matt Prater. Because we can't end this show without talking about kicker, naturally.
I agree.
And he is a first or second kicker taken off the boards this year. He should be. So he will score you a lot of points. So, there's really no one that you should not draft from the Broncos. No one. Draft them all. Draft them all and feel good about it.
Draft them all. I like
Except for Joel Dreesen.
Okay, well, yes. Don't draft third-string tight ends. Brandon, you were right. I didn't think I needed to say that, but maybe I should. Please don't draft someone on their practice squad. Please don't draft Joel Dreesen.
You can even draft Latimer.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people are asking about Marcus Latimer.
Yeah.
You guys, rookie wide receivers, stop yourself.
Do it. Do it.
It's all depends on how deep your league is. But I mean, yeah, I mean.
But you're right. I mean, if Peyton Manning's throwing him the ball, draft him.
Yeah.
What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Seriously.
I surrender.
Draft them all.
Well, that's it for us for the AFC, guys.
Mic drop.
Listen to us next show when we talk about the NFC.
What am I do? The LeBron blow up.
Blow up, guys. Blow it up. We got football on Sunday. Everybody enjoy. Get your food going on, your drinks. It's football time, people. Enjoy yourselves. Make sure to check us out at herfantasyfootball.com and on iTunes. Give us a nice ranking, please. You can also check us out on Facebook, /herfantasyfootball, and on Twitter at herfantasyfb. Until next time, no more faking it.